outside? Should I run and hide? How do I take my company worldwide? Do you love the law? Did you watch Hee-Haw? What's the weirdest thing that you ever saw? What's it like in court? Favorite sport? Can you help with my book report? Is my hair too long? Am I right or wrong? And do you mind if I sing along to anything? Ask Alan anything in the world.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Ask Alan, the podcast. I'm Alan Crone, the CEO of the Crone Law Firm, and I have with me today Marcus Cox, who is the president of Welcome Memphis, part of Memphis Tourism. Marcus, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Alan. It's great to be here.
Are you a native Memphian?
I am born and raised. Went to a couple of elementary schools. I spent probably the most time at Garden View Elementary with Dr. Bobby Smothers, who was at one time like Principal of the Year, like 4 or 5 times running. And then I graduated from Overton High School for the Creative and Performing Arts.
Oh, very good, very good. What was your artistic expression media?
Yeah, I was an actor, or I still am an actor, really, because once you do it, you really don't stop. You just maybe.
I was a theater major.
Okay.
In college, briefly, for a couple of semesters, and then I went to political science, which wasn't much more lucrative, so I had to go to law school. But
there you go.
You know, like you say, once you've trod the boards, you're always an actor.
That's very true.
It's good skills to have.
That's right. That's right. I was about to say, the beautiful thing about what I gained from my education and through working in the arts for so long is that there's so many transferable skills. And I like to share that information with other artists as well, especially as I try to keep artists in the city. I know that we do have an amazing arts community. There are job opportunities, but obviously, for those who want to make theater or performance their full-time profession, it really does right now require you to, go out. Either you do the regional theater circuit or work on cruise ships or things of that nature. But I always tell everyone, especially my friends in the community, that they can do all those things, but stay in Memphis, stay home. We've got an international airport. You can get just about anywhere. And so, we need your tax dollars. So stick around here, go and do your thing, and then come back home. And also so that then we get to experience and enjoy your art when you're performing in town as well.
No, that's good advice. Let me ask you, what was your favorite role?
Oh, gosh. I think to date, my favorite role has to be, I played the lieutenant in a straight play called American Son. And that was done in the Little Theater. I'm sorry, it's called the Next Stage now. That's how long I've been around. At Theater Memphis. The little black box used to be called the Little Theater. Now it's the Next Stage. And I did that show, I think 2 years ago now. And that is probably my favorite role to date. I have started to make that transition from being the ingenue love interest to being the elder, and having those heartfelt, important messages to give to people. And so that role was definitely my first one in that.
All right. Well, very good. Very good. All right. Well, let's get into it. What tell us a little bit about Welcome Memphis and what your role is.
Sure. Yeah. So Welcome to Memphis is the nonprofit subsidiary to Memphis Tourism. I always like to use the analogy that if tourism's job is to work to get people into the city, whether it's for business or leisure and things in between, it is hospitality's job to make sure that our guests in the city have an amazing experience, so much so that they want to come back again and again, but also become our brand ambassadors when they go home, to really tell people what it's like to experience and enjoy what our city has to offer. So what Welcome to Memphis does is our mission is to support, train, and recognize the professionals within the hospitality and tourism industry. So we help teach and train our guest-facing employees what it really means to give an authentic Memphis hospitality to their guests, but also to our locals who experience and enjoy everything that our city has to offer as well.
So from a practical, rubber meets the road kind of standpoint, what are the things that you're doing day to day to help facilitate that?
Right. Day to day, we have modules. We have training modules, a number of them. Right now, we have one that we call Memphis Rocks. That's our Memphis familiarization and customer service, like basic customer service training skills that we offer to individuals that are in the industry or trying to gain certifications to work within the hospitality industry, whether that's hotels, restaurants, or attractions. But we also do it for those businesses as well. I'm happy to come in and spend a couple of hours with your team and help and teach and train them and give those, again, those basic customer service skills that sometimes we take for granted that people have. I know the new buzzword is soft skills, but whatever you want to call them, it's those simple things of being kind and anticipating guest needs, having knowledge of what it is that you're sharing or producing or selling. And so those are things that we do. We also have a Memphis Insiders bus tour that we partner with our friends at Mackie Tours. We do that once a month as well and give a Memphis history and tour of the downtown corridor, the medical district, and Midtown as well. And it's more than just, this is where Elvis stood on this day and at this time and he kissed that girl that time. But it's more of what we call filling the soul bag, making sure that our professionals that are on this tour have knowledge and understanding so they can make good recommendations to their guests. We also point out important dates and times of the year, like when recruitment is going on for the University of Memphis and the law school, which is obviously in downtown and now one of those cornerstones of our industry and of the city, especially in such a historic building. So we do things of that nature. And now we're working on producing and creating more modules that deal more in depth with things to help those in our industry develop and grow so they can move. If they're in the middle management level, what are those skills and steps that they need to advance and move to higher supervisory positions, but also for our entry level position folk, so that they know that when they come in, they have what they need, or they will gain and learn the things they need to move up within the industry. The beautiful thing about working in hospitality is that it is ever growing and it's fast paced and moving. So you can come in, as a housekeeper, but that doesn't mean that you have to stay a housekeeper. If you come in with the right mindset, maybe learn and gain extra skills while you're working within that, you can quite easily become a supervisor, floor manager or whatever, the hotels call it now, and then move up from there. We know that a lot of our upper leadership now within the industry, whether they're hotel GMs or managers within restaurants or things of that nature, myself included, we all started at one place and then just moved up. And so we're really excited to be a part of that growth as we work to increase interest and growth within the workforce for hospitality.
I understand that, there are lots of generic kind of skills, like you say, these soft skills that whether you're a front desk person in Memphis or Chicago or New York, you're going to need to have, or you're a waiter or waitress at a restaurant in various cities, certain skills that are going to be universal. But are there certain Memphis flavor that you try to put in the stew here when you train folks to be quintessentially Memphis? And if so, what are those things?
Oh, that's such a good question, and it's kind of multi-layered too. So one of the first things that we make sure that we tell everybody is when someone asks you where's the best place to go for barbecue, we tell them don't give an answer. Just say everywhere, because Alan, the thing is, you ask 5 different people where's the best barbecue, you're going to get 5 different answers, right?
Absolutely.
So it's little things like that, but it's also just to talk about what it is to be a Memphian. I always cater it to when I was growing up, I spent every single Sunday having Sunday dinner at my grandparents' house, as many of us did. And it was always an extra place setting at the table. And I remember when I was old enough to recognize that and ask my grandmother, like, nobody else is coming, Grandma, why is there someone there? And she said, well, because someone might show up. And that's that instinctive part of who we are as Memphians and Shelby Countyans. That's just a part of the sauce like you said. And it's really just tapping into that idea of we don't have guests or visitors. We just have more family that's coming in town, right? And so what do we need to do? What do you do? How do you treat, when your family comes in? That's the same level of care and respect that we ought to give to our guests. And then, we talk about the kind of inside things, if you're driving on Poplar, stay out of those outside lanes, those things that we just know, and again, we take for granted. But when you have guests come into town, what we have discovered is, I know for me, when I visit other places, when I want to get the real recommendation about where to go, what to do in the city, I talk to the workers. I don't, go necessarily to the maitre d' desk, or I don't read the big, all of those thousands of books of, here you go, travel here in one day. This is what you should do. I talk to the folks who are working day to day, living the grind. If they're coming off the bus, I say, hey, how's the transit system here? Do I really need to take my car? And so we try to make sure that we are giving that type of knowledge to our workers so that they can then share that with their guests as well.
Well, you're doing a great job because as you may know, my office is 88 Union, which is right down the street from
Yes.
Tourism. And I have the pleasure of interacting with lots of folks that are visiting. And, I'll be walking to lunch and someone will ask me for directions. And I'll always say, well, how do you like Memphis? And universally, they all say, oh, the people are just so great. And
right.
I think that really is a hallmark of our city. Very welcoming, very hospitable. And it's important because people like to visit friendly places, don't they?
That's right. Absolutely. And the beautiful thing too is it again, it builds the stories, right? So when you have an amazing experience, not just in the place, but like you said, when you're interacting with the people, that's what you go back to. And you tell other folk as well when you get home. It's like, it wasn't just, oh, I enjoyed the Peabody and, and I saw the ducks, but the duck master spent so much time after everything was over taking pictures with people, and he was talking and he asked where I was, and if he'd ever been there, he connected with me in a certain way. And that is something that you just don't get other places. I have had the pleasure and opportunity of living in other places and even other cities within the South. And I will tell you that those places were great and they had beautiful things, but there is nothing like experiencing what we call that authentic Memphis hospitality. It just comes so natural. It takes work, but when you get it right, it really does feel natural.
We have the great asset here, which is Graceland and Elvis's legacy. And a lot of people come here, particularly this time of year, for that. But what are some of the other maybe lesser known draws that bring people to Memphis that our listeners may not think is necessarily a big draw?
Right. I think people would be very surprised to hear that the regional theater scene is really powerful. The regional art scene is really powerful here in Memphis, centrally located pretty much in the Overton Square district. Once upon a time, Overton Square was bigger, faster, stronger than anything happening down at Bill Street back in the 70s and early 80s. Everyone was really kind of flocking there. And now there has been a rebirth in that area with Lafayette's Music Room obviously being back, Playhouse on the Square with their new big, beautiful building, Circuit Playhouse across the street, Hattie Lou Theater, and then down at Theater Works as well. They're all performing and producing really, really great work. And now I know that those areas are starting to see people coming from, as far as Birmingham, Jackson, Mississippi, Jackson, Tennessee, coming into Memphis for this professional theater, professional arts, with Ballet Memphis and Opera Memphis also being a part of that area there. So I definitely would say there's a lot more regional theater travel coming into the city that most people may not be aware of. You cannot come to the city, in my opinion, without experiencing the National Civil Rights Museum It is such a wonderful place. It's a wonderful wealth of knowledge. And the beautiful thing that I love and enjoy the most about that is that it's not just a history lesson of things that happened 50, 60 years ago, but it really does interweave how what has happened, how it affects or can respond to what is happening in our society and our culture now. And I know that our Reverend Jesse Jackson says that it's our Jerusalem, right? Our leader, Dr. King, was slain here. There should be a draw for people, especially for people who feel care about the rights of all humanity. They should be drawn here. And it is a beautiful sight. I do the same thing as you, Alan. I take my walks when it's not 110 degrees outside. I take my walks, and I love to go and walk past the Civil Rights Museum. And the same thing, I love to interact with folks that are just hanging out in the mall there and ask them why they're here. And usually I get to get that says, I didn't even realize that I needed to be here until I got here. And so that is a beautiful, beautiful experience.
How excited are you about the new Brooks Art Museum?
I am excited because it's being built right across the street from our
You got
offices.
a ringside seat.
I got a ringside seat, there was a really big hill, and now it's all leveled out. I'm excited to see, them start to lay the foundation. It is going to, again, just add to the beauty, obviously, of the skyline for the city when you're looking at it from, the other side. I love that view when I'm driving, somewhere from the west coming back home to Memphis, and I'm coming over the bridge, and I get to see our city, all lit up. And I'm excited to have that become a part of it. I'm also looking forward to, just from the renderings that I've seen and how everyone's talked about how it's going to be built, that there will be this, again, beautiful courtyard. And I really love having lunch outside. So it'll be great to have another opportunity in place for that to happen.
Have you been over to the Cosset, their new outdoor eating area?
I have not yet. I certainly need to get there. I love the Cosset. I used to go there, before it closed. I went there, as a little boy. So I'm excited to get back over there. And I keep hearing great things from our team here at Memphis Tourism that have gone there for lunch. But I'm trying to, be careful about what I eat. So I've been making a lot of stuff from home and bringing it in right now.
Well, and it's also, as you mentioned, it's also 110 degrees, so not exactly the best season for al fresco dining.
I'm telling you, yeah.
Have you been able to go down and see the new Tom Lee Park before it opens?
Yes, I have. I've done a little bit of a walkthrough. I've enjoyed and got to see what it would look like during the Wall Street Music Festival. Which was a lot of fun. I think and I take the walk sometimes there on the upper walkway and get to look down into the park and over into the river. So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to opening day on Labor Day, right? That Labor Day weekend there.
Yeah, September 2nd. Yeah.
That's right. So I think it's, again, just another great addition to our city, addition to the look of our city. And I think people are really going to enjoy what has been developed down there. Especially, I believe our young folks will enjoy it too.
Yeah, it's like anything new. It's going to take some adapting, right. But I think 5 years from now we're going to look back and realize that it's a great addition to the city, and hopefully, I know there's a lot of controversy surrounding some of the uses, but I think that'll all work out eventually, and the city will really, the folks will really enjoy it because it's going to be a great welcoming park, and lots of shade, which again in August is a great selling point.
I'm telling you, absolutely. I remember going to the pop-up workout sessions and, hey, come do yoga by the river. And it's all well and good until the cloud moves and you've got this big sun like cooking you. Yeah. So you don't feel like a downward facing dog. You feel like a cooked piece of meat, right? So I am very excited for it.
I'm hip to that scene. I'm hip to that. Yeah. Well, what is Let's talk about just kind of the hospitality industry in Memphis, because I know that's your bag.
Yeah.
If I was a young person, I'm graduate, maybe right out of high school or college, and I wanted a career in hospitality, what are some of the good entry points that where I ought to be looking?
Right. I tell a lot of young people, especially that are looking for, what is the next step at, either post high school or post graduate school or baccalaureate school, things of that nature. I always tell them that the beautiful part about working in hospitality is that anything that you're interested in, any type of degree that you have or certification you have, there is correlation for it within the hospitality industry. If you're interested in security, you could, go work at security at at any of our hotels. But certainly, the larger firms have whole departments that are connected with that. Maintenance, places have HVAC, right? So you can find your way in that nature. And then again, going back to that just simple, basic hospitality that comes from being within our community. You can find that whether it's working as a server or going in food service in some capacity there, or working in the hotels or attractions as well. My very first job was working at the Children's Museum of Memphis back when they only had 3 buildings, and you only got to go into one of them. And even then, I did not realize that would just be the catalyst for me to stay within this industry, even though I did my acting thing and worked at, but there's bits of hospitality working within that industry as well. So I guess to answer your question, Alan, there is no wrong answer. It really does depend on what you are interested in doing or you're ultimately excited about trying. There's a place for that within the industry. It's just a matter of getting in and then having an honest conversation with your leadership, your managers, and say, this is where I really want to try to go or try to be, and finding the place with the culture that will help grow that in you and things of that nature too.
I have a really good friend whose son is interested in the restaurant industry, and he's still in college. And he asked around. He found the highest rated restaurant in this particular college town, and went and applied for a dishwasher job.
Right.
And he's been doing that for about a year. And it's a 12-hour shift. It's hard work. But I was talking to him at dinner one night. He says, but I'm really learning the restaurant business.
Right.
We all come in before the restaurant opens in the evening, and the sous chef cooks us all dinner, and we talk about what everybody is what's on the menu, and we talk a lot about the restaurant industry, the restaurant business during those dinners. And I thought that was a very insightful and mature way to do it. A lot of us want to start at the top, but you really need to know, if you're going to run a restaurant, you really ought to know how the dishes get washed, how the tables get bussed, and all those sorts of things.
Yeah, it is extremely important to know how every little bit of it works, especially if you yourself are considering starting your own restaurant or running or operating a restaurant, because things break down and you need to know, how to take care of it, because the folks sitting out at your table really don't care. They just want their food, right? So you've got to be able to answer those questions and jump in where you need to. I was a restaurant manager for everything in between. So I totally get in the rest as well. The president, through cycles through the restaurants, we had 7 at the time. And he would come into the restaurant dressed as a dishwasher and would work a dishwashing shift, and not just, enough for someone to take pictures and then he would go into the office until it was time for the board meeting. No, he worked those shifts. I mean, he worked them hard. And I remember, having a really busy day as a server and, just kind of not flinging, but giving him all my dishes. And, here's the president of our company. And he's like, okay, got it. Right. And it was eye-opening for me when I moved into leadership to say, we should never be so big as to we can't do the lowest job. And our teams trusted him and believed in him. And, he could have come into a staff meeting and said, all right, I need everybody to get to the top of the building and jump. I think we all might have jumped for him too, because we knew that he had our back.
Well, I had a high school classmate who bought a motel in Upper Michigan, and it one of those. He and his wife lived there, and he said this to me. He said, I went for my SBA loan, and the fellow who's interviewing me said, well, how much experience do you have in the hospitality industry? They were both accountants, and he said, I don't have a lot of experience in the industry, but my wife and I are very hospitable. And they got the loan. And I think it's important to remember that, you've got to be hospitable to be in the hospital industry. But if you are, you can do very well and be very happy, because if you're an extrovert, particularly, it's a great way to meet people and a great way to serve people, which is can be very fulfilling in and of itself.
Yes, I think just as in other industries, it's really important to remember that you have to have the capacity to continue to learn. This industry is constantly changing. We have new technologies and new informations that are coming in. How we take care of people is ever changing as well. So it's really important to never take for granted what you know. Always want to learn, strive to learn more. But you're right that, again, we talked about it a number of times now, that instinctive, just wanting to take care of people, being able to be empathetic to folk when they need to be or when they need you to be. That is almost something you can't teach. It's either you got that or you don't. But it definitely, you can thrive with that feeling, with that servant leadership attitude, working within this industry for sure.
All right, Marcus. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. As we close out here, if someone is interested in working with Welcome to Memphis, how should they get a hold of you, and what kind of services do you provide?
Right. Definitely go to our website, Welcome to Memphis, welcome to Memphis.org. There you will find our website. It is filled with lots of information. We have a jobs board that lists many jobs within the industry that are available, and from all different levels of work as well. So there's dishwashing positions on there. There's even management and sales positions out there as well. It's free for you to search, and it's also free for job creators, owners, managers, and supervisors to post jobs there as well. All of it is free. So please definitely go there. We also have a great section that highlights our workers, folks that are in the industry. You can get information about our Pick Awards, which is our big annual. We have quarterly Pick Awards, but then we have the Big Pick, the annual awards party and presentation, where we honor a handful of folks within categories of the industry for a job well done. And we get to share the amazing stories that our guests in the city have shared about their experiences with these folks. You would be surprised by some of the stories that we get to read daily. And then we also have a resource section for our job creators, our business owners with the industry as well. Information on how to help get applicants, how to vet those applicants for the right positions within your organization, and then ways that we can help mitigate the opportunities and the barriers that we know our workers have to get to work or to apply for positions as well, predominantly in childcare and transportation, right? So we are trying to be, we want to adjust and grow as the industry grows and step in where we need to be of service.
All right, Marcus, great work you're doing down there.
Thank you.
I look forward to seeing you around campus.
Always, yeah. Maybe we'll catch those walks together once the temperature.
Yes, that's right. Well, thank everybody for watching. If you've enjoyed this, please share us on social media. Give us a 5-star review. Tell us what you liked, what you didn't like. And Marcus is going to go welcome lots of visitors to Memphis, and I'm going to go get some justice. Thank you all very much.